So yesterday at a 4 o'clock showing, I was finally able to check out Weapons, and I've had a lot of hype for this movie. There's been a lot of great buzz. I really wasn't sure what to expect. I knew walking into it that my expectations were probably set way too high. So right before sitting down, I told myself, hey, this could honestly be very in the middle for me. I absolutely loved Barbarian. Zach Cregger has been a great director so far with the one. So maybe this might be a 2 for 2, or it might just be a 1 off for me. So I lowered my expectations quite a bit. My name is Hayden Becker, and welcome back to Hayden Cinnamon. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell. That will get set today with all of my posts. So like I said, I really did have a lot of expectations. I managed to lower them right before walking into this. That did help my experience a lot. So to kick things off with the positives, Julia Gardner is pretty awesome. Haven't really seen her in a whole lot of movies, but the first one being Wolfman at the start of this year, was not a fan of Wolfman at all. Very big disappointing movie. Had a lot of expectations for that one especially, but she was pretty good in that. And in this one, it's a lot different in the sense that she is really good in this, and I think the direction from Zach Cregger really helped. I really dug what she had to offer. Her character, I'm not a fan of the type of character that she is. Very angst, very annoying, very victim. Everything's about her. But in a sense, she earns that in a very strong way. Also, Josh Brolin, as always, is just fantastic in this. I'm a huge Josh Brolin fan, from No Country for Old Men to Thanos to this. There's several of works that he's done that I absolutely love. This one is no different, and I can't wait to see what this guy does. But especially in horror, thriller, mystery, I think he does great in that, and I would like to see a whole lot more from that, especially like in No Country for Old Men, and now this. He probably has more out there that I'm just not aware of. But I really dug this and dug his performance in this, what his character is doing. There's some really creepy moments that his character goes through that it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it, man. But I thoroughly enjoyed what his character was going through and how he portrayed that character. That's really all I can say without spoiling a whole lot. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say pretty much every character in this movie. Benedict Wong. I thought Benedict Wong's character was awesome, and what they do with his character specifically. Not a spoiler, but there's some really tense scenes with his character. Some really tense moments. Probably the scariest moment in the movie for me personally. It didn't scare me like jump scare or anything, but the situation was just pretty scary in and of itself. Also, the concept of this movie is really freaking incredible and terrifying and just creepy and very uncomfortable. There's a certain amount of uncomfort in this movie that really works. It doesn't push you over the edge. It doesn't push me personally over the edge to where I just don't want to watch the movie anymore. There's really only been one movie to do that, and that was Don't Worry, Darling, for a completely different reason what others may think. But this one, there's a certain level of uncomfortability that really works, and I think Zach Cregger does great in that, and it's the same thing as in Barbarian. Not comparing it to Barbarian because of the style necessarily. If you're not a fan of Barbarian, no fear, this is nothing like it. There's no creepy woman in the basement and titties. There's nothing like that. The direction style, the camera style, the lighting, there's a bunch of similarities in that area, but as far as the movie goes, it's nothing like Barbarian. But the creative choices that Cregger makes are really creepy, and like I said, in the concept, where you have one classroom, one teacher, and there's 18 kids in the class, 17 of them at 2:17 in the morning, all leave their house doing this Jack Sparrow-ass run, and it's kind of funny a little bit. This is another thing. This movie is really funny in a weird sense. I caught myself laughing a lot, especially my theater actually laughed quite a bit. No screams in this one, but definitely tense where you can almost feel the air in the room just shut off. The promotion for this movie is done really well where it doesn't show you anything, by the way. So if you're the type to not watch trailers, it's pretty safe that if it's by this director, you're pretty safe. He tends to not let anything be spoiled in the trailer. The premise for this movie, I'm trying not to give too far into the narrative, is done really well where it's told in several different ways. I'm not going to specify how many or the if any twists or anything like that come, but there is a certain way that the narrative is told that is done in a very unique way. The story in and of itself is pretty compelling, where you're following a bunch of different characters, but mainly Julia Garner's character. You start out invested in, and that's the one that the trailer leads you for. And I was thoroughly scared for her. I will say that was one that I was like, goodness, like I would hate to be in that position. Like imagine you're just a teacher in a small town. You're just trying to live your life. You have personal things already. And then this huge burden of you have 17 out of 18 kids in your classroom only go missing. That is a bunch of weight, especially for a young teacher to carry. Uh, and like I said, the type of character that she is, I'm not a fan of, but it is well deserved. Where she does victimize herself a lot, and then people are like, "The world's not after you," and she's like, "Yes, it is," and it is. Very clearly, the world is after her, and she has every right to feel the way that she feels. Roland's character, I really loved what they did with him and the where his narrative is in the story. The kid who doesn't go missing in the classroom, Alex, they do something really uh, telling, I will say, with his character. There's plenty of creepy moments. There's a couple of side characters, Paul, James, a police officer, and a heroin addict. Um, it's I will say the narrative is told in a way like Pulp Fiction or a Bullet Train. There's things like that that the way the story is told, the way it unfolds, the pacing and the time, as far as the story goes, was done really well. Not really the pacing of the movie itself. I will get into that in my negatives. Um, but yeah, overall, for my positives, it met all of my expectations. It's not like extremely overhyped. I think it's worth a lot of the hype. But there are some issues that I do take with it besides the great characters and the great story that they unfold. There's a couple of little nuance and details that they don't really fill out. This movie is a pretty big, like, dick tease in the best way. There's a bunch of, like, ambiguity there that they don't really answer that's left for interpretation that creates a bunch of great conversations, but there is a little bit more that they don't elaborate on whatsoever, and it's just there for almost weirdness sake, and I didn't care for that. There's especially one sequence, um gonna try not to spoil it, but a certain character is basically in a dream, and then they walk outside and they look up in the sky, and there's something in the sky, and that doesn't get explained at all. And at first, me and my girlfriend kind of looked at each other and we're like, "That would make sense, that would I can see that. I wonder how that's going to play out." It doesn't at all, and I'm only putting it in my mix because it doesn't really affect the entire movie, but it definitely had weight in that moment, and I just didn't care for it a whole lot. Also, there is a couple of character choices that I didn't quite understand nor was like riding with. I loved a lot of what this movie had to offer. I loved a lot of what this movie did. Again, the performances, the direction, the story, the writing, the dialogue. It is all fantastic. Like damn near 5 out of 5. That's really my only complaint as far as my mixed. But there is one big negative, and it is a pretty big one. Movies, going on to my negatives, when you complain about the pacing or the runtime, there is such thing as a 90-minute movie being way too long. And there's such thing as a 3-4 hour movie not being long enough. It all depends on how much of the runtime does it earn. Some would say maybe Titanic, Avatar, those movies absolutely probably earn those runtimes. Aliens earns its runtime. For some, Oppenheimer earns its runtime. So those don't feel like very jarring movies. Sinners earns its runtime. This movie does not earn its runtime. This movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes, and I feel like it honestly would have been better at like maybe an hour 40. There's a couple of moments that I felt like we really didn't need. There's definitely certain things, like the one thing that was in my mixed with the sky. That could have definitely been taken out of the movie and not affected it at all whatsoever because it wasn't explored. Now, that could have been a studio choice. That could have been Zach Cregger saying, hey, we're running on time. We got to edit this out. That could have been a whole bunch of different things, but I personally just would have rather had that explored. And honestly, if that had been explored, maybe it would have earned its runtime, but then if that's going to be explored and it still is going to remain 2 hours and 9 minutes, there's several of other things you could have taken out and not have any weight whatsoever. So there are very little things in the movie, but there's so many of them that it kind of piles up to a solid 20 minutes that could have been taken out of the movie, for me personally. But really, that is my only negative. So overall, this is a really good horror movie, really good murder mysteries type movie. Not really murder, but just kind of thriller. I really dug it. My girlfriend liked it. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5.
Me and Cleo give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Another great one from Zach Cregger. In my opinion, it is not as good as Barbarian, but it is a really good second film from this director. And I'm really happy, and I can't wait to see what this man does next. He's fabulous, especially in this genre. I think he might even be great at other genres, to be honest. But I really enjoyed it. My girlfriend really enjoyed it. What is your opinion? Have you seen this movie? What did you think about it? Please let me know down in the comments. You can follow me on all of my social medias. They'll all be linked down in the description below. Again, join me in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Give me recommendations. Use hashtag HCinema for all your recommendations down below. I'm wanting to try to start reacting to things as well, so let me know what you want me to react to. I hope you enjoy watching this video just as much as I enjoyed making it for you, and I'll see y'all next time.